The distant rumbling of the earth was a constant companion on the barren, rocky terrain of the planet Orthus. Harsh winds swept across the desolate landscape, swirling dust and sand into the hostile air. Amid this harsh environment, a young alien girl named Anna struggled to navigate the craggy rocks under her feet. Breathing heavily, Anna clutched a jagged stone for balance, her eyes scanning the horizon. Her skin, a luminous shade of blue, was stark against the dull browns and grays of the planet. Abandoned, she was meant to perish here, left alone by her people, the Zyions, who viewed her as weak and unworthy. Suddenly, a low growl echoed across the valley. Anna's head snapped towards the sound, her heart pounding in her chest. From behind a large boulder, a monstrous creature emerged, its eyes glowing with a predatory light. The creature was twice her size, with gnarled teeth and spiny ridges along its back. Anna froze, knowing she was no match for such a beast. As the creature charged, a loud blast sounded through the air. The beast stumbled and fell, just meters from where Anna stood. Shocked, she looked in the direction of the blast to see a group of humans approaching, weapons drawn. The leader of the group, a tall man with stern features, stepped forward. His name was Captain Jack Sullivan. Behind him, two other men surveyed the area, their expressions wary. "Are you hurt?" Jack asked, lowering his weapon as he neared Anna. Anna shook her head, still too stunned to speak. She observed the humans cautiously. They were clearly not from around here. Their suits were designed for combat and survival, far more advanced than anything her people used. "We didn't expect to find anyone else alive on this forsaken rock," another of the humans, a rugged man with a scar across his cheek, said gruffly. He introduced himself as Harris, the ship's engineer. The third man, younger and less guarded, offered Anna a small smile. "I'm Tom," he said, "the pilot. Well, I was, until we crashed. Now I suppose I'm just another survivor." Anna found her voice, still wary but curious. "Why did you help me?" she asked, her voice a soft melody compared to the gruff tones of the men. Jack's gaze was steady, his eyes reflecting a mixture of curiosity and determination. "No one deserves to die alone on a planet like this," he replied. "Especially not at the hands of that." He gestured toward the fallen creature. Anna looked at the dead beast, then back at the humans. "My people abandoned me here because they thought I was weak. I don't know what I can offer you," she admitted, a flicker of sadness crossing her features. Tom stepped closer, his tone encouraging. "Sometimes, surviving is the strongest thing you can do. You're here, and that's what matters. We're all in the same situation now, and it looks like we could use all the help we can get." Jack nodded in agreement. "We're trying to establish a temporary camp until we can fix our communications gear and call for a pickup. You're welcome to join us, Anna." Offering her a hand, Jack helped her to her feet. As they walked back toward the makeshift camp, Anna felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps in this group of strangers, she might find a new kind of strength. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the land as they all moved together. Each step was a move towards survival, a shared effort to conquer the threats of Orthus. The Odyssey had been a beacon of human engineering and exploration, equipped for long-range missions to the outer sectors of known space. Now, its twisted and scorched remains littered a ravine on Orthus, a grim testament to the perils of deep space travel. As the sun rose over the horizon, casting long shadows over the wreckage, the crew gathered among the debris to assess their situation. Captain Jack Sullivan stood at the center, examining a handheld device with a flickering screen. Beside him, Harris and Tom rifled through the scattered supplies, salvaging whatever could still be of use. "We've got limited supplies," Harris reported, his voice tinged with frustration. "Some of the rations are intact, and there's enough water for a few days, but our medical kit took a hit." Tom, ever the optimist, held up a sealed container with a grin. "Not all bad news. Looks like the emergency beacons are still functional. If we can get to higher ground, we might be able to send a distress signal." Jack nodded, considering their options. "All right, let's prioritize then. Harris, see if you can rig up something to carry the supplies. Tom, you and I will scout for a suitable location to set up camp and attempt communication." As the men set to work, Anna approached cautiously, still feeling like an outsider. She watched their interactions, the easy camaraderie born of shared challenges, and hesitated to intrude. Jack noticed her reticence and paused in his tasks. "Anna, right?" he asked, his tone inviting. "You know this planet better than we do. Any suggestions on where we might find higher ground or some natural shelter?" Anna was taken aback by the request, unused to being consulted. There's a ridge about half a day's walk from here, she replied slowly. It's higher up and clear of the larger creature dens. It might serve your purposes. Perfect, Jack responded with a decisive nod. You just became our guide. Think you can lead us there? Encouraged by his trust, Anna felt a surge of purpose. Yes, I can lead you. The group spent the rest of the morning preparing for the journey. With Harris's engineering skills, they constructed a makeshift cart from the wreckage to haul their supplies. The mood was grim, yet determined as they set off towards the ridge. As they walked, Tom fell in step beside Anna. So, how did you end up here, if you don't mind me asking? He queried gently. Anna glanced at him, weighing her words. My people. They value strength and survival above all. I was different. They thought I would jeopardize the group's chances during our migration cycle, so they left me here to die. Tom's expression hardened at the cruelty of her situation. That's harsh. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Anna shrugged, a small smile touching her lips. Perhaps it was a blessing. I wouldn't have met you otherwise. Their conversation was cut short when Jack called out from the front, pointing towards the horizon. Look there. Is that your ridge? Anna looked where he was pointing and nodded. Yes, that's it. We should reach it by nightfall. The journey was arduous, the terrain unforgiving. But as the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the alien landscape, the ridge came into view, promising a new vantage point and hope for rescue. As they established camp atop the ridge, Anna felt a newfound sense of belonging. With these humans, she was no longer an outcast but a valuable member of a team. Together, they prepared to face whatever challenges Orthus had in store, united in their common goal of survival and escape. The early dawn cast a pale light over the alien landscape as Captain Jack Sullivan and his makeshift crew prepared to explore the surroundings of their new campsite on the ridge. Anna, now their appointed guide, pointed out paths that avoided known dangers. She had become an essential part of the team, bridging the gap between human and alien knowledge of Orthus. As they moved through a narrow canyon, Jack took the lead, rifle in hand, alert for any signs of danger. Tom and Harris followed, carrying scanners and extra ammunition. Anna walked beside Jack, her eyes scanning the rocky terrain. I never got to thank you properly for saving me from that creature, Anna said quietly, breaking the silence between them. Jack glanced at her, a small smile playing at the corner of his mouth. We look out for each other here. You would have done the same, he replied. Before Anna could respond, a sharp beep from Tom's scanner interrupted them. Got something moving about 200 meters north, Tom reported, his voice tense. Can you identify it? Jack asked, raising his rifle. Tom adjusted the scanner, frowning as he studied the readings. It's big, but the readings are erratic. Could be anything. Jack signaled for the group to proceed with caution. They moved slowly, positioning themselves behind a cluster of large boulders. As they peeked around the edges, a large shadow moved across the ground, cast by a creature lurking just out of sight. The tension among the group was palpable. Anna's knowledge of the local fauna could mean the difference between a successful encounter and disaster. Anna, any idea what it might be? Jack whispered. It sounds like a Grothar. They're apex predators around here, but they usually hunt alone. If it's just one, we might manage, Anna replied, her voice steady despite the rising fear. Options? Jack asked, looking to his team for input. If we backtrack now, we might avoid it entirely, Harris suggested, always the pragmatist. But as they prepared to retreat, the creature stepped into view, a massive, reptilian beast with scales that shimmered in the rising sun. Its eyes locked onto the group, a low growl rumbling from its throat. There's our cue to leave, Tom muttered. They slowly began to back away, but the Grothar charged, faster than its size suggested possible. Jack fired, the sound echoing through the canyon, but the creature was undeterred. Just as the situation seemed hopeless, Anna stepped forward, her hands raised. She spoke in a series of harsh, guttural sounds that seemed to pierce the air. The Grothar halted, confusion evident in its posture. What did you do? Harris asked in awe as the beast turned and retreated. I spoke its language, Anna replied, a hint of pride in her voice. I told it that we were not a threat, that there was easier prey elsewhere. Jack was impressed, not just with her bravery, but with her ability to communicate with the local wildlife. Remind me never to get on your bad side, he joked, easing the tension as they watched the Grothar disappear into the distance. The encounter had been a close call, but it had strengthened the bonds between Anna and the human crew. They had seen her as a survivor, but now she was their protector as well. As they resumed their journey, Jack considered the possibilities. With Anna's unique abilities, perhaps they had a real chance of surviving this planet after all. He turned to her with newfound respect. "Lead the way, Anna. Let's see what other secrets this planet holds." The camp was quiet under the dim light of Orthus's twin moons, casting long shadows across the rocky ground. The atmosphere was tense following their narrow escape from the Grothar. As they settled around the newly built fire, Captain Jack Sullivan couldn't help but reflect on the day's events, particularly Anna's unexpected intervention. "Anna, that was incredible today," Jack started, breaking the silence. "How did you learn to do that?" Anna, sitting across from him, seemed hesitant. "I've always had an affinity for the creatures here. My people consider it a useless skill, but I spent a lot of time observing them, learning their sounds." Tom, who was checking the perimeter, chimed in. "Seems pretty useful to me. Who knows what else we might run into out here?" Harris, however, remained skeptical. He prodded the fire with a stick, his expression unreadable. "Useful or not, we still don't know much about her or her motives. We're just taking her word for all of this." The statement hung heavily in the air, casting a chill that the fire could not warm. Jack noticed Anna's shoulders tense. "We're a team here, Harris. She's proven herself as part of this team." Anna looked at Jack, grateful for the defense but troubled by the mistrust. "I understand the concern. I would probably feel the same in your place. But I am here to help, and I have no reason to harm you." Her sincerity seemed to soften Harris somewhat, but his eyes still held a hint of doubt. The conversation was interrupted by a sudden alert from one of the perimeter devices. Tom rushed to check the readings. "It's probably just another small creature," Jack reassured them as they waited. Tom returned, his face pale. "It's no creature. We've picked up a signal. It's human, or at least it appears to be, but it's encrypted in a way I've never seen before." Anna's knowledge of technology was limited, but she sensed the worry in his voice. "Is that bad?" "It could be nothing, or it could be someone who doesn't want to be found," Jack speculated. "We'll monitor it. For now, keep this to ourselves." As night deepened, Jack took the first watch. The fire crackled softly, and the camp seemed at peace. However, deep into the night, Jack noticed Harris sneaking away from his sleeping spot, heading towards the communications setup. Curious and cautious, Jack followed at a distance. He watched as Harris powered up the device and started manipulating the settings, seemingly trying to send out a message. "What are you doing, Harris?" Jack's voice was low but firm as he stepped out from the shadows. Harris spun around, surprised. "Jack, I was just checking the equipment, making sure it's still operational," he stammered, clearly caught off guard. Jack approached, eyeing the screen which displayed a half-composed message. "It doesn't look like routine checks to me. Who are you trying to contact at this hour without letting anyone know?" The confrontation was tense, and Harris's guilt was apparent. "I don't trust her, Jack. I was going to contact HQ, get them to send someone to check her out or pick us up." Jack's disappointment was palpable. "By potentially exposing our position to whoever is on this planet. We do this as a team, Harris. We decide together." Realizing his error, Harris lowered his head. "I'm sorry, Captain. I let my distrust cloud my judgment." Jack placed a hand on his shoulder. "We're all stressed, and trust is hard in these conditions. But we have to rely on each other." As they returned to the camp, Jack's mind was troubled not just by Harris's actions, but by the encrypted signal. Who else was out there? And what would their presence mean for their already precarious situation? The need for unity was clear, but achieving it would be their next great challenge. The night following the confrontation with Harris was uneasy, leaving the group restless as they mulled over the challenges they faced. Captain Jack Sullivan decided it was crucial to reinforce their camp and enhance their defenses. They couldn't afford internal strife with the potential threats lurking on Orthus. As dawn broke, Anna helped Jack and Tom organize a scouting mission to gather more resources and survey the area for any signs of the mysterious signal they had detected. Meanwhile, Harris worked on strengthening the perimeter defenses, trying to make amends for his earlier mistrust. The day was unusually quiet, the usual cacophony of alien wildlife muted under a heavy, oppressive sky. Anna felt a tension in the air, a prelude to something dire. "Storm's coming," she murmured, looking towards the darkening horizon. "Literal or figurative?" Tom joked half-heartedly, checking his scanner. "Both," Anna replied, her gaze serious. Back at camp, as they prepared their findings and fortified their position, the ground suddenly trembled. A low, reverberating growl echoed through the valley, unlike any creature sound Anna had taught them. "That's no storm," Harris said, peering into the distance with a pair of binoculars. Emerging from the shadows of the looming cliffs were dozens of creatures, more than they had ever seen at one time, led by a massive Grothar, its scales glinting ominously under the fading light. It was a siege, a coordinated attack by the planet's predators. "Positions now," Jack commanded, as everyone scrambled to their designated spots. Anna took her place beside Jack, her understanding of the creatures their best shot at survival. As the beasts neared, Jack signaled to hold fire. "Wait for my call. We need to make every shot count." The creatures surged forward as one, a terrifying wave of claws and teeth. "Now!" Jack yelled, and the air was filled with the sound of gunfire and the hisses and roars of the attacking beasts. Anna, focusing her energy, tried to communicate a warning to the creatures, an appeal to their instincts to avoid danger. Some hesitated, confusion in their eyes, but the Grothar roared, urging its pack onward. Tom, managing a heavy turret, kept his fire focused on the larger targets, while Harris covered the flanks, preventing smaller creatures from breaching their makeshift barriers. The air was thick with dust and the acrid smell of gunpowder. Despite their best efforts, a few creatures broke through. Close combat ensued, with Jack and Harris taking down a snarling beast just meters from their central shelter. Anna, her own safety forgotten, helped drag an injured Tom to safety, his leg caught by a creature's vicious swipe. As the battle reached its fever pitch, the Grothar itself charged, barreling towards Anna and Jack. With a calm born of desperate courage, Jack took aim and fired a well-placed shot that staggered the beast. Seizing the moment, Anna stepped forward, repeating the calming sounds she had used before. This time, coupled with the clear threat they posed, the Grothar hesitated, then turned, leading the remaining creatures away from the camp. Exhausted, injured, but alive, the crew regrouped. "Thanks to Anna, we're still breathing," Jack said, clapping her on the shoulder, a grateful look in his eyes. As they tended to their wounds and assessed the damage, the reality of their situation settled in. They had survived this attack, but there would be more. They needed to find a way off Orthis soon, or risk facing a threat they couldn't overcome. The aftermath of the siege left the camp in disarray, and the crew exhausted but more resolved than ever to secure a way off the planet. As they repaired the damage, the tension that had simmered between Harris and the rest of the crew seemed to ebb, replaced by a grudging respect for Anna's role in their survival. However, peace was short-lived. While Jack and Tom worked on recalibrating the communication equipment to boost the signal of their distress beacon, Anna and Harris were tasked with scouting for additional resources necessary for repairing their ship. This pairing, orchestrated by Jack, was meant to mend fences between the two. As they ventured out, Harris's demeanor was cautiously amicable. "You know, Anna, I might have been wrong about you," he began, breaking the silence. "You've got guts, I'll give you that." Anna nodded, accepting his olive branch but remaining alert. "We all want the same thing, Harris, to get off this planet. I'm here to help, not hinder." Their path took them through a densely wooded area where the undergrowth thickened and the air grew damp. As they collected samples and mapped the area, Harris's scanner beeped loudly, signaling a nearby energy source, a rare and valuable find that could potentially power their communications for weeks. Excited by the discovery, they approached the source, only to find it was a piece of advanced technology unfamiliar to both. As Anna examined it, Harris suddenly turned on her, his weapon drawn. "Sorry, Anna, but I can't take any more risks. You're coming with me." Confused and alarmed, Anna faced him. "Harris, what are you doing? Put that down. We're on the same side." "Not anymore," Harris responded grimly. "I found this transmitter on you," he said, holding up a small, sophisticated device Anna had never seen before. "You're a spy or something worse." Anna's confusion deepened. "That's not mine. I don't even know what that is." But Harris was unmoved. "I'll have to take you back to camp. Jack will decide what to do with you." Bound and under guard, Anna walked back with Harris, who was silent now, his mind clearly troubled. When they returned, Harris presented his findings to Jack and Tom, who were shocked but skeptical of the quick judgment. Jack inspected the device closely. "This isn't Xylian technology. It's not even something Anna would understand. We need to think this through." Tom interjected. "Let's not jump to conclusions. We've been through a lot together. Anna's earned our trust." But the seed of doubt was planted. The crew became divided, with some siding with Harris, while others stood by Anna. The camp was tense, the atmosphere thick with suspicion and fear. Late that night, as Anna sat isolated on the edge of the camp, Tom approached her. "Hey, I believe you," he whispered. "I'm going to prove your innocence." Anna looked up at him, her eyes filled with a mix of gratitude and sadness. "Thank you, Tom. I just want to help, to get us home." Tom nodded, determined. "Stay strong. I'll figure this out." Through the night, Tom worked tirelessly, scanning the device and checking all communications logged. By morning, he had an answer, but it was one that would shake the very foundation of their fragile alliance. "Jack, you need to see this," Tom called out as dawn broke. Everyone gathered, tense and expectant. "This device," Tom announced, "is not a spy transmitter. It's a part of our own ship's black box, specifically designed to record and send distress signals automatically." The revelation hit them hard. Harris looked devastated, realizing his grave mistake. Jack turned to him, his voice firm yet forgiving. "Harris, your vigilance keeps us alive, but this time it almost tore us apart." Chastened, Harris approached Anna, remorse etching his features. "Anna, I was wrong. I'm sorry for doubting you. Can you forgive me?" Anna, though hurt, nodded slowly. "We need to trust each other to survive." As the crew reconciled, their focus returned to survival and escape, but now with a renewed sense of unity and purpose. They understood that on Orthus, their greatest strength was each other. After the revelation and reconciliation within the camp, the team's spirits lifted slightly, but they knew their situation remained dire. They needed to repair their communications equipment to call for a rescue, and time was running out as the local threats grew more aggressive. The bond formed through their recent trials was about to be tested in ways they could not have anticipated. As they were nearing completion of the communications repairs, thanks to the salvaged parts and the unexpected discovery of the black box component, the sky above them darkened unnaturally. Anna was the first to notice the disturbance. "Look!" She pointed upwards, her voice tense. Everyone stopped and stared as a sleek metallic ship sliced through the clouds, descending with menacing precision towards their makeshift camp. It was a Zyion vessel, unmistakable with its angular design and the emblem of Anna's people emblazoned on its hull. "The Zyions? But why here? Why now?" Anna murmured, her face pale with fear. Jack gripped his rifle, squinting at the approaching ship. "Looks like we're about to find out. Everyone, get ready. This could get rough." The ship landed with a soft thud a few hundred meters from their camp. Armed figures disembarked swiftly, spreading out in a tactical formation that had all the hallmarks of a military unit. They were led by a tall figure in a commanding officer's uniform. His eyes locked onto Anna, and his voice boomed across the distance. "Anna of the Zyion High Clan, you are charged with treason against your people and conspiring with outsiders." Anna stepped forward, her expression resolute despite her shaking hands. "I am not a traitor. You abandoned me here to die." Jack moved to stand beside Anna, his weapon lowered but ready. "Anna has been nothing but helpful and loyal to us. We stand with her." The Zyion commander sneered, his gaze flickering over the human crew. "Your sentiments are misplaced, human. This does not concern you. Hand her over, and we will spare you." Harris, previously distrustful but now one of Anna's staunch defenders, stepped forward, shaking his head. "Not going to happen. We don't abandon our own." The standoff was tense, each group waiting for the other to make a move. Then, Tom, always quick-witted and brave, whispered to Jack, "The communications are back up. If you can keep them talking, I might be able to send out a distress call." Jack nodded subtly, then raised his voice. "Why do you want her? If she's already exiled, why not leave her?" The commander's eyes narrowed. "She holds information critical to the Zyion security. She must stand trial." As the verbal sparring continued, Tom stealthily activated the equipment. The signal, boosted by the black box technology, pierced through Orthus's heavy atmosphere, racing towards the nearest human outpost. Finally, the commander lost patience. "Enough! Seize her!" he ordered. As the Zyions advanced, gunfire erupted from the human side. The battle was fierce but brief, as the humans, despite being outnumbered and outgunned, fought with desperate courage. Amidst the chaos, Anna took a daring risk. She ran directly towards the commander, her voice loud with the powerful, commanding tones of the Zyion language, reciting laws of warfare and rights of the accused, hoping to sow confusion and doubt among her pursuers. The tactic worked long enough for the Zyions to hesitate, their steps faltering as they processed her words. In that moment, a reply came through the newly operational communications. Help was on the way. With the promise of rescue, the humans gained a second wind. The Zyions, realizing they were now potentially facing a larger conflict with human forces, retreated back to their ship and left as quickly as they had arrived. Breathing heavily and watching the ship disappear into the sky, Jack clapped a hand on Anna's shoulder. "You were incredible. Thank you." Anna smiled weakly, relieved yet weary. "Thank you for believing in me." As the crew gathered, their relief palpable, they knew this was only a respite. They needed to prepare for what was to come, but now, more united than ever, they were ready to face any challenge. The days following the Zyion confrontation were a blend of relief and anticipation. The crew's successful defense against the Zyions had bonded them even closer, solidifying Anna's place among them. They focused on fortifying their camp and maintaining the distress signal, anxiously awaiting their rescue. One clear morning, the distinctive hum of an approaching ship filled the air. The crew looked up to see a sleek human vessel descending towards their camp. Cheers erupted as they realized help had finally arrived. The ship landed gracefully, and a team of rescue personnel emerged, greeted warmly by Jack, Tom, Harris, and Anna. Captain Elaine Roberts, leading the rescue mission, approached Jack and his crew. "Captain Sullivan, it's good to see you all in one piece. We've been tracking your signal for days." Jack shook her hand firmly. "We've had quite the adventure, Captain. We owe a lot to our new friend, Anna." Elaine turned to Anna, her expression one of respect. "Any friend of the Odyssey crew is a friend of ours. Welcome aboard, Anna." As they began loading supplies and preparing for departure, Anna felt a mix of emotions. She had found a new family here, yet the future remained uncertain. Jack, sensing her hesitation, approached her. "You know, Anna, you don't have to come back with us," Jack said gently. "After everything you've been through, you might want to find a new place, start fresh." Anna looked at him, her eyes reflecting the emotions swirling inside her. "And go where? My people won't accept me, and I have nothing left there. Besides," she paused, a soft smile forming, "I think I've found something worth staying for right here with all of you." Jack smiled, nodding. "We're glad to have you, Anna. You've saved us as much as we've saved you." As the last of the supplies were loaded, the crew boarded the rescue ship, leaving the harsh landscape of Orthus behind. The ship ascended smoothly, breaking through the planet's atmosphere and heading towards the safety of the human fleet. During the journey, the crew gathered in the common area, recounting their harrowing experiences and planning their future. Harris, still feeling the weight of his earlier betrayal, approached Anna with a sincere apology. "Anna, I owe you an apology," Harris began. "I doubted you when I should have trusted you. I hope you can forgive me." Anna nodded, her smile reassuring. "We all make mistakes, Harris. What matters is that we learned from them and stood together when it counted." Tom, always the optimist, raised a toast. To survival, to new friends, and to the adventures ahead. As the crew raised their glasses, Jack took a moment to reflect on their journey. They had faced insurmountable odds, battled fierce creatures, and survived internal strife. Through it all, they had discovered the strength of their unity and the importance of trust. The ship continued its journey through the stars, carrying them towards a future filled with hope and new beginnings. For Anna, it was a chance to redefine her destiny, no longer an exile but a valued member of a new family. For the crew of the Odyssey, it was a reminder of humanity's resilience and the bonds that can form even in the most unlikely of circumstances. As they looked out into the vast expanse of space, they knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The journey of survival on Orthus had forged an unbreakable bond, one that would carry them through any trials the universe might throw their way.